I died on April 1st, 2002. I was 96 years old. But before I go, I need you to understand what happened in that forest, what I did there, and what it did to me. November 1939. I was a farmer, 34 years old. I had a small house, a dog, fields I knew better than I knew people. I was happy with quiet. I had always been happy with quiet. Then the Soviets crossed our border, 1 million men, against 300,000 of us. The newspapers called it an invasion. I called it what it was, an attempt to erase Finland from the map. They came to my village. They told us to report for duty. I didn't hesitate. I picked up my rifle, the same rifle I used to hunt in those same forests since I was a boy, and I walked into the trees. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. There was no one to say goodbye to. I just went. What I'm about to tell you, only a handful of men in the world ever knew firsthand. The Soviets sent entire units to find me. Snipers, artillery teams, specially trained kill squads. They called me the White Death. They didn't know my name for months. They only knew something was out there in the snow, and it was killing them one by one. What happened in that forest over the next 100 days, what I did, and what it cost me, the silence of it still hasn't left me. But first, you need to understand what it feels like to be completely alone. The forest in winter is not silent. People think it is, but it breathes. The trees crack in the cold like rifle shots. The snow falls in sheets so thick you can't see your own hand. The temperature drops to -40 and stays there, and the air feels like it's trying to push itself inside your lungs and freeze them from the inside out. I know this forest. I grew up in it. Every ridge, every frozen stream, every open field where a man crossing becomes a silhouette against the white. I know where the wind comes from in the morning. I know where it shifts at noon. I know which trees hold snow on their branches and which ones drop it without warning and which direction that snow will fall. The Soviets don't know any of this. They come in columns. Long, heavy columns of men in dark coats moving through white landscape. They talk to each other. They light cigarettes. They move like they believe the forest is empty. I let them believe that. I wear white. I made my own suit from bed sheets. Not issued, not official, just cloth cut and sewn in my kitchen before I left. I lie in the snow for hours before they arrive. Sometimes I pack snow into my mouth so my breath doesn't rise as vapor and give away my position. I am part of the ground. I am nothing but a pair of eyes and a finger on a trigger. I use iron sights. No scope. A scope catches light. A scope can reflect a glint that a careful man will notice. I don't want to be noticed. I want to be invisible. I want to be the last thing they never see. I move after every shot. Always. Never fire twice from the same position. The sound travels, bounces between trees, confuses the direction. By the time they're looking, I'm already somewhere else, already still, already waiting. But what I didn't know, what no one told me, was how long it would go on. Days become weeks. Weeks become a month. The cold never breaks. The attacks keep coming. Every morning, I go out before dawn. Every evening, I come back to the small dugout I've made in the snow, just deep enough to sleep in, just wide enough to turn over. I eat dried food. I melt snow for water. I clean my rifle in the dark by feel because I've done it so many times my hands don't need eyes anymore. I don't talk to anyone for days at a time, sometimes longer. The silence between kills is the hardest part. People think the shooting is the hard part. It isn't. The shooting is quick. One breath. Hold it. Squeeze. Don't pull. It's over in a fraction of a second. The hard part is the hours before and the hours after. Lying in the snow, alone, listening to the forest breathe, thinking about nothing. Because if you start thinking about something, you lose focus, and if you lose focus, you die. So I think about nothing. I become
Halt! Turn back
nothing.
quickly! Move!
At
Faster!
some point,
Back the way
I'm
we
not
came!
sure exactly when, the Soviets figure out something is wrong. The casualty reports are climbing, and they can't find the source. They pull back at certain hours. They change their routes. They start sending scouts ahead of the columns, men moving carefully, watching the tree lines. I watch the scouts. I am patient in a way that I think most men are not capable of being. Not because I am better than them, but because I grew up with this. A farmer waits for rain. A hunter waits for the animal. Waiting is not suffering for me. Waiting is just time passing while I stay ready. They send their own snipers after me, Red Army marksmen, trained, experienced. I find them before they find me, every time, because they are looking for a man, and I am not a man anymore in that forest. I am the forest itself. The number climbs, 50, 100. I stop counting somewhere around there. Counting feels wrong. These are men. They have families. They crossed a border they were told to cross by men sitting warm in Moscow. They didn't choose this forest. They didn't choose me. But they came anyway. And Finland needed me to be here. 3 minutes into the morning of March 6th, 1940, everything changed. It had been 105 days. I know this now. I didn't know it then. Then it was just another morning. Dark sky turning pale gray, temperature somewhere around -30. Forest quiet, except for the sound of distant movement to the east. I'm in position. I've been here since before first light. The snow underneath me has compressed into the shape of my body. I'm cold in a way that I no longer feel as cold. It's just the normal state of things now. My hands work. My eyes work. That's enough. They're advancing through a clearing, a patrol, maybe 12 men. I watch them through my iron sights, tracking the lead man, reading his pace, calculating the distance. 300 meters, maybe 350, the wind from the left, light and steady. I'm about to fire. And then something hits me. Not the shot, not at first. There's a fraction of a second, less than a second, a sliver of time so small it barely exists, where I feel something wrong. Pressure, wrong. Not pain yet, just wrong. Then the world goes sideways. I'm on my back in the snow. I don't know how I got there. The skies above me, pale gray, perfectly still. I can't feel my face. I try to raise my rifle, and my body doesn't respond the way it should. I think I've been hit. I think it very clearly and calmly, the way you think a fact that you already somehow knew was coming. A Soviet sniper. Somewhere in the trees to my northeast. He found me. After 105 days, one of them finally found me. The bullet entered my jaw and took most of the left side of my face with it. I find this out later in a field hospital when a doctor tells me with a look on his face that I understand to mean he didn't expect me to be conscious. I had lain in the snow for several hours before my own men found me. I was identified by my uniform because there was nothing left of my face to identify.
Kuume on
I'm
laskenut
told I
hieman.
regained consciousness on March 13th, the day Finland signed the armistice, the day the Winter War ended. I woke up the same day the war ended. I have never been sure what to do with that fact. My jaw had to be rebuilt. It took years of surgery. When I finally looked in a mirror, really looked, not just a glance, but a full look, I didn't recognize myself. The face looking back was a reconstruction, close enough to be me, not quite me. The forest took something from me that day, not just the face, something underneath it. They gave me medals, the Cross of Liberty, commendations from generals. They called me a hero of Finland, and I understood what they meant, and I accepted the words because they were meant with genuine feeling. But when the ceremonies were done and the photographs were taken, I went back to my farm, back to the fields, back to the quiet, back to the same forests, not the same ones, my forests, the ones behind my house where I learned to shoot as a boy and where no one had ever died because of me. I worked the land, I hunted, I kept to myself. I lived alone for most of the rest of my life in a way that suited me, and also, I think, in a way that I had no choice about. Something about the forest had changed, or something about me had changed. It's hard to say which. People would come sometimes, journalists, historians, young soldiers who wanted to learn from me. I told them what I could, practical things, how to read wind, how to stay still, how to stay patient, the things that can be taught. I didn't tell them about the silence, about what it does to a man month after month to be completely alone in the dark and the cold with nothing between him and the enemy except his own stillness. That part I kept. Some things you don't explain, you just carry them. People ask if I'd do it again, knowing what I know now, knowing about the face, knowing about the years alone afterward, knowing about the silence that never fully left. I think about that question for a long time before I answer, because the honest answer is not simple. I protected my country, I know that. Finland survived, not because of me alone, never because of me alone, but I was part of why it survived. That is real. That matters. I do not regret it. But I also think about lying in the snow for hours with no sound except my own heartbeat. I think about looking in that mirror and not recognizing what looked back. I think about all the mornings I went out before dawn and came back and ate alone and slept alone and went out again.